Did Billy Gunn tease his retirement this past weekend on AEW Collision? Details and what the plan is for the former WWE superstar backstage in AEW right now. Speaking of backstage in AEW, Orange Cassidy has a new backstage role as a producer with All Elite Wrestling. We've got an update on Adam Cole and MJF being scheduled for AEW Dynamite this week. Speaking of Dynamite, a big triple threat tag team match is going to take place featuring the Blackpool Combat Club after Blood and Guts last week. Swerve Strickland is set to face off against Darby Allin on Dynamite this week. Collision next week will feature a ladder match with IDOLO facing off against Buddy Matthews with his mask on the line. Britt Baker versus TAYA VALKYRIE is also set for Dynamite after VALKYRIE challenged Baker during this past week's edition of AEW Collision. And could Samoa Joe return to commentary in AEW in the future? Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. Let's start off talking about Billy Gunn. One of the surprising things coming out of this past weekend's edition of AEW Collision was the seemingly teased or confirmed retirement from the WWE Hall of Famer. The 6th ever episode of AEW Collision appeared to feature a very significant development in the career of veteran and WWE Hall of Famer Billy Gunn. Gunn, teaming with the Acclaim, that being Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, faced off against the House of Black in a match for the All Elite Wrestling Trios Championships. The two teams wrestled a relatively short match that ended when Gunn was hit with the Black Mass by Malachi Black, who then covered Gunn for the victory. Following the loss, a visibly disappointed Billy Gunn proceeded to take off his wrestling boots. He then placed his boots in the middle of the ring and left the ring while both of his tag team partners watched on from outside of the squared circle. Gunn then simply walked past both of his partners, who attempted to get his attention as he walked back to the dressing room. Of course, leaving his boots in the ring in this manner would imply that Gunn has possibly decided to call it a career for him. Gunn first rose to fame as a member of the WWF's Smokin' Guns. Teaming with Bart Gunn, the duo captured 3 WWE World Tag Team Championships in 1995 and 1996. From there, Gunn was briefly managed by the Honky Tonk Man as Rockabilly before forming the New Age Outlaws with the Road Dogg and reaching the peak of his career with D-Generation X in the Attitude Era. As the New Age Outlaws, Gunn and the Road Dogg would capture 7 WWE World Tag Team Championships. In 1999, Gunn won the King of the Ring tournament. Gunn's first match with AEW was at the 2019 Double or Nothing event. From there, he briefly aligned with his sons before joining the Acclaimed as Daddy Ass. Whether or not Gunn has wrestled his last match is very likely. We will learn more about this development in the coming weeks on AEW television. So what did you make of the segment, and what do you think this means going forward? Do you think Billy Gunn has really decided to retire, or is this just part of a storyline when it comes to the Acclaimed moving forward on AEW TV? Let me know your thoughts, predictions, and opinions in the comment section below. Orange Cassidy is a polarizing figure for some in the world of pro wrestling, but according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Orange Cassidy is expanding beyond being one of the most impressive champions in AEW history. In addition to keeping a busy schedule in the ring and as AEW International Champion, Fightful Select are reporting that they have learned that Orange Cassidy has also picked up work as a producer/agent in All Elite Wrestling. Fightful have specifically learned that he produced recent matches between Infantry versus the Kingdom and Big Bill and Brian Cage versus Matt Sydal and Trent. Producers/agents are on headset during the match, helping make sure that they're on time and send directions to ringside, and also go over the matches with the talent themselves. They also relay pertinent spots to the television production so they know what to expect. So Orange Cassidy, not only a wrestler, not only a champion, but also a producer in AEW. What do you make of the latest development when it comes to the career of the King of Sloth Style and the AEW International Champion? And let's turn our focus to AEW Dynamite on Wednesday on TBS this week. Adam Cole and MJF's odd couple pairing has found success in AEW lately. Following their victory in the finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament, the duo will get a shot at FTR's AEW World Tag Team Championships on this coming week's episode of AEW Collision. However, the #1 contenders have some things to get off their chests before then. AEW has announced that Cole and MJF will be on the upcoming episode of Dynamite, which is scheduled to emanate from the MVP Arena in Albany, New York. It remains to be seen what the duo has planned for the night, but their segment will undoubtedly address Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood ahead of their tag team title match on Saturday. The July 22nd episode of AEW Collision saw Wheeler and Harwood call out their upcoming opponents, and they didn't mince their words. Wheeler accused MJF of being a snake who will eventually turn his back on Adam Cole. Harwood, meanwhile, was critical of Cole and MJF's recent comedy segments, including their dance-off with Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara on the July 19 edition of AEW Dynamite. While they haven't always seen eye to eye, MJF and Cole are heading into Dynamite and this coming week's tag team match with momentum on their side, both inside the ring and beyond. Recently, it was reported that their tag team shirt has set 2023 record for sales, despite only being released just a few weeks ago. Most fans and pundits expect the duo to turn on each other fairly soon enough, but their popularity might inspire AEW's booking team to give them a World Tag Team Championship run, or at the very least, extend this storyline out further than originally intended. We'll have to wait and see what happens this week on Dynamite and Collision when it comes to Better Than You Baby, the tag team that's taken the world by storm. Speaking of Dynamite and tag teams, we have a big triple threat tag team match set for Dynamite this week on Wednesday. Claudio Castagnoli has not had an easy week. On AEW Dynamite, the Ring of Honor World Champion joined the Blackpool Combat Club, Konosuke Takeshita and Pac in an unforgiving and incredibly brutal blood and guts match against the Golden Elite. While his team didn't come out on top in that epic battle, the Swiss Superman was successful in defending his title against the bastard Pac at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view this past Friday. Now and his BCC brother Jon Moxley must contend with two of All Elite Wrestling's top teams this Wednesday on TBS. As announced by the AEW Twitter account, the MVP Arena in Albany, New York will be treated to a star-studded triple threat tag team match featuring Castagnoli and Moxley versus the Lucha Brothers versus the Best Friends. While the BCC contingent is certainly battered and bruised, they're facing two other teams with plenty to prove. Both Lucha Bros and Best Friends were involved in a four-way tag team match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships at the promotion's latest pay-per-view this past Friday against the Kingdom and newly minted champions Aussie Open. As for Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, they've been a staple of AEW since day one. They were among the first crop of talent signed to the company and have remained fan favorites ever since. However, championship gold, whether that be as a team or as a trio of Orange Cassidy, has constantly eluded them. Now that Cassidy holds the international title and Chris Statlander currently reigns as the TBS champion, the desire to prove themselves is likely stronger than ever for the hug-happy duo. Hopefully a win against these two formidable teams will earn them another opportunity to finally win some tag team gold again. It'll be interesting to see what happens on Dynamite on Wednesday when it comes to this triple threat tag team match. Speaking of matches announced for the show too, Darby Allin, of course, he's going to be challenging for the TNT Championship at AEW All Out, but he'll have to overcome Swerve Strickland before then. Darby eliminated Strickland in the Royal Rampage Battle Royale on this past Friday's episode of AEW Rampage to earn a shot at Luchasaurus's, or Christian Cage's, TNT title. However, the Mogul Embassy leader has a score to settle with the #1 contender before the pay-per-view. As promoted on the AEW Twitter account, Darby and Strickland will face each other in a singles match on the July 26th edition of AEW Dynamite, which will emanate from the MVP Arena in Albany, New York. The bout is being built as a grudge match, as Strickland isn't happy about missing out on the chance to challenge for some AEW gold. This weekend, Strickland also took to Twitter and promised to make an example out of his opponent. The accompanying photo depicted the Mogul Embassy leader pointing at Allin as he was tied up in the ring ropes. Of course, it remains to be seen if Strickland's allies in the Mogul affiliates / the Mogul Embassy are on the same page as him. Some dissension within the ranks was teased after Strickland eliminated Big Bill from the Royal Rampage Battle Royal, which upset Brian Cage. This led to an argument between Cage and Strickland, as the former has been tagging with Bill in recent week and has built up a rapport with him. Strickland and Darby aren't the only advertised performers for this week's episode of Dynamite. We spoke about MJF and Adam Cole, as well as the triple threat tag team match too. Let's talk about AEW Collision this coming Saturday, and a big ladder match is going to be taking place on TNT. A huge match was announced during this past week's episode of AEW Collision. The House of Black's Buddy Matthews versus Andrade out Idolo in a ladder match. The winner of the match, which will air on next week's episode, or this week's episode of AEW's flagship Saturday night show, gets to keep out Idolo's mask. The upcoming ladder match will also mark the first time that the stipulation bout has been held on an episode of AEW Collision. Our IDOLO has been on a quest to retrieve his mask since Julia Hart stole it for the heel stable. Our IDOLO's attempts thus far have been unsuccessful, and he's found himself being taunted by the leader of the House of Black, Malachi Black. The last time that our IDOLO faced Matthews was on the debut episode of Collision, in which he won that match. In the second episode of the show, Andrade defeated another House of Black member, Brody King, to continue the feud. During this past week's episode of Collision, our IDOLO saw himself barred from the arena so that the Trios Championship match would run smoothly. The decision paid off as Matthews, King, and Black were successful in defending the AEW World Trios titles against the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. They have been the AEW World Trios champions since March 5th when they defeated the Elite. Of course, this coming week's show, will feature FTR defending the AEW World Tag Team Championships against MJF and Adam Cole, who have quickly become a popular makeshift duo. MJF and Cole earned the title shot by winning the recent Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. Speaking of Collision matches that are now bleeding over onto Dynamite, TAYA VALKYRIE will face off against BRITT Baker. TAYA VALKYRIE squared off against Sky Blue on the 6th ever episode of AEW Collision. After close to 10 minutes of action, VALKYRIE scored the victory. Following the win, VALKYRIE picked up the microphone to address the crowd and the viewers watching on TV at home. After first taking to briefly address the local New Jersey audience, VALKYRIE then proceeded to draw a parallel between herself and BRITT Baker. VALKYRIE pointed out that she defeated Sky Blue while Baker was a recent victor over an enhancement talent. She then made it clear that she wanted to face Baker at a future event. On the heels of those statements, All Elite Wrestling announced that TAYA VALKYRIE and BRITT Baker will meet on the July 26th edition of AEW Dynamite. The two have never faced off before in one-on-one competition. TAYA VALKYRIE has had a 12-year career and joined All Elite Wrestling earlier this year. During the course of her career, she's wrestled for a variety of promotions such as WWE and NXT, Impact Wrestling, and AAA. BRITT Baker began wrestling in 2015 and is in the middle of perhaps the most successful run of her career. She captured the AEW Women's World Championship on May 30, 2021 and held the title until March 16, 2022. During that time, she was aligned with Rebel and Jamie Hayter. So another big match announced for Dynamite this week as well. Finally, Samoa Joe's opened up on the possibility of returning to commentary, a role he previously held in WWE. While Samoa Joe is primarily known for his in-ring ability, between 2019 and 2021, he spent a significant chunk of time behind the commentary desk for WWE due to the fact that he was dealing with an injury at the time. He recently admitted to Under the Ring that it was an unexpected part of his career, with the role being something he knew very little about heading into it. Quote, "I am not a traditionally trained broadcaster, so it was just a lot of listening, on-the-job training, kind of figuring out the lay of the land and how things go," he said. "You don't get much time to do that, especially in WWE, but luckily we had that opportunity and it was fun. It was fun while I did it." The role was one that Joe relished, putting together some great moments, while his most memorable commentary moment arguably took place when he stood in a poncho as the rain poured down at WrestleMania 37. There were specific aspects of the job that he liked. To be able to be a part of the storytelling for a lot of your contemporaries who you respect greatly and you want to see them do well, he said, "It was really a fun opportunity and I enjoyed it." AEW has provided plenty of opportunities for current in-ring talent to showcase their commentary skills, with the likes of Chris Jericho and Paul White getting time in the broadcast booth. When it comes to Joe's future, he admitted that he doesn't know if another stint as a commentator is ahead of him. Quote, "I've stopped trying to predict my future as it's gone so chaotic and crazy," he said. "I am just kind of riding the wave." So, would you like to see someday Samoa Joe return to the commentary booth, this time for AEW? Certainly, plenty of shows to do it on, so maybe, you never know, the Samoan submission machine could return to the commentary booth and become the Samoan broadcast machine. Anyway, guys, that's the AEW news for you today. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.